From Montgomery to Hill, Greene County and Perry, it's Portia taking on the Blackbelt, and she ain't scared. Marengo County, something county, Will, Cops, and Barber. Interviewing everybody, sister, brothers, and mamas. It's Portia.
Food outlet in Greensboro. Now, the food outlet in Greensboro, let's talk about the food outlet in Greensboro.
Okay.
So I hear, well, it is, okay, so the other day I had a couple of people tag me, and I had a couple of people, hey Shay, I had a couple of people to tag me because of price hikes. And they were saying that they was charging for 2 dozen of eggs, they were charging almost $10 for two dozen of eggs. And so to me, that, I mean, I know it's price gouging. So what I ended up doing was I called the Attorney General office, and I spoke with a young lady by the name of Elise, and she said they need to go and fill out a consumer. You had a lot of people from Greensboro who filled out on behalf of family members, on behalf of themselves, for those who live there, on behalf of their family member, on behalf of themselves. They screenshot it after the application was complete to prove that they did do a complaint against food outlet.
Right.
What are your thoughts on one, Uniontown and Greensboro now are, well, Greensboro is definitely a food desert, and Greensboro is looking like it's becoming a food desert. What are your thoughts on that?
First, I would like to say, the price gouging, so that's going around like all over. So even up here where I live at, it's going on. See, not only at the grocery stores, but the food outlets. I mean, it's going on at the restaurants as well. I've seen an increase in the prices as far as like from 65 cents all the way up to like 75 cents. It's real small, but if you get enough of them, it adds up. And it seemed like the only thing that there's not a price gouging in is the fuel. It's the fuel. But see, this is normal though, because if you can remember after the 9/11 happened, there was a lot of price gouging as far as the fuel and along with a whole bunch of other stuff. But my honest opinion is that now because we're having a pandemic, this wouldn't be the time to do a price gouging as far as on the food or the necessity that people need. This wouldn't be the time, and I think it is illegal. If I'm not mistaken, I think it is.
It is definitely illegal, which is why they had complained. One of the processes, Rod Thomas made a comment. He said high prices among other things. We'll get to the other thing in just a minute. And my mom corrected me, hey mama, that there's only one grocery store in Greensboro. Okay, so I wanted to go back to that point of it being illegal. One of the things is that one of the things that Attorney General, I think in not this press conference that she had today, but the last one, he discussed that about him wanting to crack down on stores that are price gouged, especially in rural areas, knowing that that is a one-stop shop for a lot of people who have limited resources. And so when you're thinking about that in Greensboro, Alabama, and you're looking at it in the Blackbelt as a whole, to have one grocery store that is controlling what people get, it is ridiculous. And I think it's unfair. And I also think it goes back to leadership not stepping up and or not must not be shopping there either. Because if I was a leader and I was shopping at a grocery store, wouldn't I want fair prices too? So it says a lot about that. Kim Skipper says it's $1,000 fine to them. I know the Secretary of State, I'm sorry, the Attorney General office did say that they was not going to release the names of people who reported, but they were going to do an investigation and do in written form what they found from that. Which takes me to another protection of employees, what they find. So we got to understand that an employee of food outlet allegedly, and make sure we throw that in there, we don't want to get sued. Allegedly, a employee of food outlet in Greensboro has COVID-19. And the young man was working at the time that he found out that he has COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on not only the contamination possibly in the produce, which is the area in which I was told that that individual works, but also in what it could possibly do to their community?
So me personally, I would question that right there, whether or not the young man, he actually have the coronavirus or the COVID-19. I would question that because if you look around now, you're really not hearing the cost why people died. You know, usually if somebody died from a stroke or a heart attack or something, you know, they would label that now. But now every time something happens, is COVID-19 or you know it's coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the outlet, so I spoke with several people, and they did advise me that Chief Hamilton he came in and so they didn't go into specific details, but they said he fixed the problem. They said he looked into it. You know, he did his investigation into it, and see everything else he did. I don't know, but he gave him permission to reopen.
Okay.
So I would assume that he took the necessary precaution to make sure everything was good for the public before he reopened it. But I can't say for certain that this young man have it because you know nowadays whatever you go to the doctor for lately, you know, you pretty much gonna come back with the coronavirus or something.
Do you think that people are overreacting about the COVID-19 in our area?
See, my from my research that I've been doing, and from my understanding, and I've talked to people that have been around a while. Uh, I would say that they're not overreacting because they don't know. And when once you really know the truth, and if you still be reacting in a certain way, then that's overreacting because you know the truth. And see, to a point, yeah, I think they're overreacting because if you do your research on this, um, on this COVID-19 or this coronavirus, if you do your research on it all the way back from when it first started, it first got reported down in China back in 2019 when they first rolled their 5G out. But I've spoke with several people around in Hale County and around up in this area as well. Uh, some of the same symptoms that they saying that people have that have the coronavirus, people had that symptoms back in September, October,
And no
November,
real, because my daughter had.
December here.
That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm.
They had it here in the United States. So
Mm-hmm.
that paused me a little bit. So I had to go back and do my research on that as well. And come to find out that that's when the United States, they also rolled their 5G out. They just didn't make it public. They just didn't make it known that they was rolling their 5G out. And
Okay, so even though they're supposed to be later on, hold up, just a second about the 5G thing, because I see you have a belief on that. So Kim is asking a question. Kim Skipper, she says, so you're saying food outlet closed due to an employee having the coronavirus? They're not closed.
they're not closed now. No, they're not closed. I mean, they're open.
Yeah, they're open. Okay, all right, so they're not closed at all. Okay, I just want to make sure we clear that up, and I think Rob just said no, they're not closed, and then Giselle comes back and said she had it in February too. And so I think it's important to understand. I'm not a believer in this 5G theory. One of the reasons why that I say that, especially in rural Alabama, being that we don't have the connections necessary as it relates to services to what 5G is supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to walk outside, and if you say Uber will automatically appear, I guess, what I'm saying, to that extent. So we don't even have that particular services. Like, even to the point where local restaurants don't even want to use DoorDash or Uber Eats. They themselves are delivering their own food for local restaurants here in this area in the Democracy. So I'm not a believer in that particular thing. I am, however, a believer in the biological warfare that I think backfired on the United States. And that's just my personal opinion on that. I don't have any scientific information. I did read a couple of articles and things like that. And Washington Post did one back in 2014 about a man-made thing that I read. But so let's talk about that since you brought it up before we get to talk about TextPack in Marion, which is definitely a crisis that goes on with the coronavirus. So it all will tie in a minute, everybody. So I want to go back to the theory about Chris Reese said, "Want to know the truth with the 5G looking to South Korea recent." Okay, so we'll talk about that. So, what are your thoughts on? Please explain to Portia.
I will.
Okay, about the connection between 5G and the coronavirus.
I will. See, there's no connection between 5G and the COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you have to understand. The first country to report that there was such thing as a COVID-19 or Wuhan virus or whatever was China, and you can give a virus whatever name you wanted to give it. So let me back up a little bit, but see, go all the way back to the Spanish flu, which you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, it's been 100 years," and they had the Spanish flu. See, you have to understand what was taking place back then when the Spanish flu came out. See, when the Spanish flu came out, uh, they had just invented radios, and during that time, World War I was going on during that time, and they needed radios transmitters so they could be able to reach people all around the world. So, the first case of the Spanish flu happened here in America, and it happened to the guy who was working inside of the radio room, being exposed to all this radiation at the time. So what did America decide to do? They decided to go buy 13 more huge radio transmitter, and they set them up all around the country. And everywhere they set up a radio transmitter, guess who showed up on the scene?
Who?
Spanish flu.
Okay.
Spanish flu didn't hit these areas until the United States set their transmitter here. They set it there. They set it there. So this is not a theory. And the word a theory come from the CIA, because when people was trying to figure out, when people had them dead red, so they said it's just a theory. So that word comes from the CIA. But this is just from me doing my research, going by what the government along with other people have documented. So now we can move forward. Are you familiar with the Asian flu outbreak? So I'm
Mhm.
gonna tie all this in together. I'm gonna tie all
Okay.
this together. If you're familiar with the Asian flu outbreak, now see, during that time they was building radar stations,
Okay.
and they started on the West Coast and up in North America. So the Asian flu. Move on a little farther, you go to the Hong Kong flu. Uh, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but what happened during that period, the Hong Kong flu, they began to double the amounts of satellites that they was putting into space. Now, now notice this. Every time something dealing with technology, or they have to be an upgrade or something, there always a pandemic or epidemic or something. It always it always happens. So now fast forward, 100 years from 1918 and 1920. Now they come up with the coronavirus. Now they come up with the coronavirus. The first place, the first people to report this was China, and it happened. It happened before they reported it. Now it happened weeks before they reported it, and they had just rolled out their 5G. They just rolled it out. See, there ain't no connection between it. See, you can give a virus whatever name you want to give it. Whatever name you want to give it, that's what you can give it. I mean, that's what you can call it. But the same precaution that they tell the population to do for coronavirus, I did my research on it. This is the same precaution you would take, like when you've been exposed to radiation. Like if there's a radiation attack or something, this is the same precaution. So you keep your distance 6 to 10 feet. You wear
Mhm.
your mask. You wear your face shield, and you don't go out. This is the same thing.
So it's the radiation. So the radiation. You're saying that uh, due to the radiation that stems from the 5G towers, that is what is causing people to get sick.
My point exactly, and let me expound on that. Um, Now, see, our body be exposed to radiation every day, but
Correct.
it at such a low dosage to where our body has adapted to it over a period of time. But now it's being turned up like anywhere from 5 to 50 times the normal limit. like anywhere from 30 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz. Now, I did my research on it. With the human body being exposed to that much radiation, it damages your organs, mainly your lungs.
Like doing cancer treatment, some stuff like that.
No, no, no. This is much more worse. This is much more worse.
But the similar, what you're saying is about kidney organ failure and things like that. Those are because when my dad went through chemo and radiation. Those were some of the things that they were saying that could happen to him if he used radiation. So
right.
that's why I was just connecting it. But go ahead.
I got you. I got you.
Mhm.
So, but it damaged your lungs and it damaged your heart as well. The amount of radiation that the human body is being exposed to. I
Mhm.
can tell you something firsthand. Now, I was leaving Birmingham going to Atlanta, Georgia, about. In fact, it was last Sunday, and when I first got on 459, like I had trouble breathing, like like I couldn't catch my breath. So I pulled over, got me some peppermint, and so I started drinking me some water. And so I dug in a little farther. Come to find out, the radiation, it does something to the oxygen to where it like puts the oxygen, I want to say, like in a bubble, and it makes it hard for you to breathe it, even though it's there, but you can't get to it because of the radiation.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So you got a couple comments. Rodney Raider said, from looking at the hotspots, there are no natural trees there. They are all man-made. Carbon King, he says, I guess he was commenting to what you were saying, radiation levels. Giselle said that this is interesting. I debated on this a while back also. She also said that radiation, that's all that she's been saying. And then Carbon comes back and says cancer symptoms, excuse me. Nikita has an interesting point. She said, in order for 5G to produce on the level that you were describing, it has to be multiple times stronger. In our area, we don't necessarily have those particular things here. So how can you explain that?
I sure can.
Okay.
I sure can. See you. See first of all, let me back up. Let me back up to a few things that the scientists said. Dr. Fossier, um, when it first came out, they said that like the elderly people would probably die, and then they said that people that was unhealthy or that already had health issues, they would die as well. And the reason being because their immune system is not strong enough to fight this radiation off. It's not strong enough. But to those people that has the, I don't know whether to say COVID-19 or the coronavirus, but those people that have that, you have to look at the area that they have been in the past week or two. So just like I was told that somebody in Greensboro had it because they was out at that time on a cruise ship. I won't call no name because it hadn't been verified yet by that person. But uh, then too, and then too, just because. But let me back up a little bit. But when all of this first started happening over here in the United States, they sent a memo around to majority of the people that's over the mortuary. They said that when somebody died, don't list it as the COVID-19, but though they want you to report it that was like the cause of death. That was why they died. And let me repeat that again. See, they don't want the people to put on the death certificate that person died from COVID-19, but when they report it to the media or whoever, they want them to like list it then saying that they died from the COVID-19. Because
That's
when
what
the
the
last
governor was talking about. Let me go back to the sky. That's what the governor was talking about today to make sure that even, they're going to go through each death and go through it to, what I'm saying, to eliminate those because someone was in a car accident, but you want to list them as COVID-19. They was in a car accident. You can't do that. And that's what has been happening. So it looks like, okay, for the last day or so many people died, but you had people that was in car accident. You had a young lady that was shot in Montgomery who family discussed about, they wanted to include her in the number and wrote a Facebook post about it, what I'm saying, everything. So yeah, you definitely have to be careful and protect your family from that as well. So I got a couple questions. We're gonna go on because I don't want to lose the audience. We're at 115 watching now, so I don't want to lose the audience. We're gonna do this for a little bit longer, guys. So we got Kim says, so how far is the 5G tower from the ground? That's the first question. Do you know that?
How far?
She said, how far is it from the ground?
I've I've seen some I've seen some on certain videos, and then I've seen some over in Britain where they're like snatching them down and burning them up. You know, they burning the 5G towers up
And
over
in
there.
Africa, yeah.
Yeah, but I really can't say. I really can't say because I hadn't researched that. But they're high enough to where you could see them. You know, they're noticeable because they look real strange. You know, they don't look normal, but they're not spaced that far apart. They're not spaced that far apart like how towers would normally be. And I guess that what makes it just that much powerful because they're spaced so close together.
Hmm.
And let me ask you this one question right here. See, there was a lady. She hadn't been nowhere for weeks, and she came up with the coronavirus. She hadn't been around nobody, and that my only thing is could be radiation. 'Cause radiation, it could come through your walls and stuff, you know. And explain
Or
this.
if you go to the grocery store, the person that she get a grocery from touch something and things like that. Because it's also surface layered as well. You have carbon. He said supply demand and use of technology. That's what we're talking about. Urban versus youth. You're absolutely correct. Rule. I mean, Karen says good evening. Good evening. Lakina says I think that we still build the towers in rural community because we will let them, even though we do not have the services in our area. That can be damaging. I agree with you on that. And then you have Sacramento Buns that comes back with when I be driving along going down the highway, I be seeing like radiation waves in the road. My sister said that before. To me, that's what it looks like. Just concerned. Can you tell me what that is?
Um, uh,
I
uh,
think we just talked about that earlier. I think she just turned
so,
it like,
but I really can't say. I don't know whether or not it's heat waves or what, but I did some research on, what a corona is. And a corona, it comes from the sun. It's like when I think you're having a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, you can't see the sun, but you can still see the corona around the sun, which is rays, which is radiation. So that's
right.
what corona is. So it could be heat waves or it could very well be, radiation, what they see. I can't speak on it.
All right, we're gonna take one more for 5G, then we're finna go on now. Cause we gotta get on with the come on. All right, so Rodney says trees give trees give carbon monoxide that smothers the virus. For example, Birmingham is a hot spot in Alabama. There's nothing but concrete versus down in the country where there's simply a lot of trees. Well,
He
that
He's right. That's
yeah,
one of the reasons it's going to take 5G longer to get down there. They say because of the trees is in the way, but if you do your research like Rodney have did, it has nothing too much to do with trees being in the way. It has a lot to do with the carbon monoxide, like you
yeah.
said.
And that's what Carmen said in heat wave. So I wanna she says, okay, thanks. And then Giselle comes back with yes, heat waves is what I thought. Okay, so I wanted to go back to talking about COVID-19 and the effects that it has on people and things like that. So when you're thinking about companies not shutting down, employees being at risk, and things like that. But let's talk about TexPac. TexPac is a company in Marion, Alabama. For those of you who don't know, they package salt and pepper. That's their job. Well, I've never known salt and pepper packagers to be essential workers. Now, this is something new to me. I didn't know that. But I was told, I do know for a fact that one of the county commissioners by the name of Albert Turner in Perry County wrote on his Facebook page that he sat down with the head of TexPac and the head of um, Harvest Select and let me tag him in this post because I don't want to make sure that he see what I'm getting ready to say about it. And so he posted that he did meet with them, and I had some concerns about that, being that in a plant setting, how in the ham sandwich are you going to work 6 feet apart in a plant setting? And that's not the case that's happening at TexPac. They're working elbow to elbow. They were given one mask, and they told them that they have to reuse that mask up to 2 to 3 days. Now, these came from employees. They didn't come from Portia. Like I told you guys, I'm on call. So if I have to lead a conversation, it's because I'm getting a rape call. But yeah, and so what happens is you have people who are potential. Now, I listened to what you said about COVID-19 and things like that, and people not leaving the house and still getting sick. But you still have people like our people, African American, color folk, who still having get-togethers and things like that, and exposing themselves to something that can potentially harm them. I want to hear what are your thoughts about people in our particular area that work in these particular facilities who do not have the protection necessary in order to not only protect themselves but their family members.
So, well, if I was to speak on that, that would be a contradiction, and my belief. Like I said, I don't believe that there is a virus, from the standpoint of something like the flu or the pneumonia. I mean, a virus is considered anything that enter into the human body illegal. Just like your computer or your laptop, if anything enters that illegal, it's considered a virus, and it damages the system on the inside.
But
So,
if you say that, I could give you a perfect example. My brother's girlfriend lost her mom a week ago, no,
hmm
2 weeks now, and then a week later, her uncle, who was at her mother's funeral,
hmm
died a couple of days after her mother's funeral.
hmm
After he went in Butler, Alabama, to visit his friend who has COVID-19. So
hmm
if what you're saying is accurate, if what you're saying, I'm not, what I'm saying, I'm just asking a question. If what you're saying is accurate, how can someone, if it's not like a flu or whatever, and they can't just get it from touching, how did he contract it and die? That and the person who has COVID that he went to visit is still alive.
See, because we can't say for certain where these 5G radiation waves is
Man, we
going.
talking about Choctaw County, Butler. We talking about New Bern, Dodge City looking area. We're not talking about Birmingham.
All right. So let me ask you this. See, did they do an autopsy on it? Because lately, you hadn't heard of nobody dying from like a normal death, like how people usually die. Lately, just like out of the past 300 people that died, all 300 of them done died from COVID-19 or coronavirus. This is let me back up for a minute. But we as people have to be mindful that there's an agenda that has to take place for this 5G to be successful. There's an agenda. So I question every time somebody said that they died from coronavirus. I question it because you just hadn't heard about nobody dying from normal death. Now, I mean, I would be more subject to say they died from being exposed to radiation if they already had health issues, like the people in the nursing home. Like you get like 10 or 11 people in the nursing home that died, but none of the workers test positive, and nobody from the outside had been in. I mean, there's cases like that. Nobody tests positive for the coronavirus. Nobody from the outside had been in for weeks, but all of a sudden they go check. Like you got, I think it was like 10, 11, or 12 patients that was dead. I
Oh,
would.
so now, okay, we got a couple of comments. There's a couple of comments. So we got Giselle says, so have you all seen this post about the peak from the virus is fake? The hospital not as packed with COVID-19 patients as they say. Also, on another note, our mayor's consider opening the city back up April 28th. You talking about Matt Water, Walt Matt, whatever that dude name is.
I would like to say this too, though. I would like to say the last thing about it, though. See, think about what the president said and what Dr. Fauci said in the CDC. They said like last week, they said this. No, they said 2 weeks ago that last week and this week there will be more death than normal. Like it'll be more than 9/11. How can you predict that there's going to be like a peak? It's going to be more death if everybody is doing what they supposed to be doing. How can you predict that? If everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. The only way
Well,
somebody,
everybody ain't doing what they supposed to be doing.
but you still cannot predict that unless you're in control
Of the
of
mind, we know that part. I mean, that's
that
common
switch,
sense.
of the switch. And
Because
let me,
it's a biological warfare. You got
I,
Raven says it was a lady that did a lie that said she went to the doctor, and because she had loss of smell and taste, she said that the doctor didn't test her, but told her that they were just going to say she had COVID-19 because they were sick. I haven't had smell and taste in the last 2 years, and that's because I have sarcoidosis, not COVID-19.
hey,
Uh,
Miss Portia,
yeah.
And let me say this: all of a sudden, then China is leading in the coronavirus, and now they has no new cases. Like it just done died out. You know why?
Because they shut the whole country down.
No, they turned their 5G down. And then how is it that
So they also
Italy,
shut the whole entire country down. Like
it,
everything. They
hey,
also did that.
hey, see, but Italy was shut down like for I think a month or two.
They didn't do it until after it got bad when they got up to 3,000 people to where they had to start using gymnasium. That's when they started shutting it down. But that was after it had gotten really, really bad. But when China they shut down the entire nation of like shut it down. Nobody go nowhere. The whole nation shut down. That's when they begin to see a decrease in it. Now that's factual.
I'm going to go back and
You go ahead and go look at it. Go look at it. So you got case by case basis of each person and condition. Gloria says viruses are spread from human to human contact, whether it's by air or transmission by touch. Because even after he left, because you got to remind you now, her mom passed. It was a whole week, and he had went and visited the guy, and he started feeling bad. He went to get the test, but he had to wait a couple of days after he got the test, and that's when his symptoms like got really, 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 really bad. And so, and then he found out that he had COVID-19, and a couple of days later, he was gone. So you're thinking about if what you're saying is actual fact that it can't be passed, because he said, I ain't scared of nothing. He did all that big old talk at the funeral. I ain't scared of that. I mean, that was the saddest funeral that I went to. Tommy was there. Chief Reese was there. Everybody was scattered all around. We sat in the car, and everybody was scared to touch someone. So, I truly believe that what part of what you're saying is true, but the other part of that is that if it wasn't contact to contact, I do not think that things would be the way that they are. If it wasn't that particular way. Giselle says, well, not so much fake, but it's not what they're telling us going on. No, I'm not saying it's true, or nor can't. Okay, I'm confused with what you're talking about. Come back with what it is that you're saying. I think Bubba has a question. He said, my question is, if the COVID-19 is not a virus, but from 5G radiation, why didn't radiation from 3G or 4G towers affect anyone?
good question, because it was turned down to the bare minimum, which I want to say it was either 4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz. It was turned down, but we have to understand that the 3G and 4G, it was like dripping, but this 5G is like sonic. The 5G is the fastest thing in the world right now. This 5G, and when you want more speed like that right there, then you have to turn it up. That's why, because this 5G is going to be used for a lot of things. I mean, not only speed. I mean, you can download a whole movie in a matter of seconds now. You ain't got to wait minutes now. So the 3G and 4G, um, it was only like turned up to, I want to say, 4 or maybe 5 gigahertz at that particular time. But this 5G is turned up like anywhere from 5 to 50 times the normal.
All right. Gloria has a question. She said, you talked about people were not dying of normal death. She said, what is a normal death?
Uh, and I'm glad you asked. Good question. Good question. Because you usually hear people dying of heart attack or stroke or just like you said, somebody, I think you said somebody died in a car accident and they listed as COVID. They listed as COVID-19 or something. So my point. So that's what I'm saying. Even if somebody drowned, they would probably list it as COVID-19 because they want the statistic to go up.
Well, I think we should do it like China and shut everything down. Uh,
Uh,
and I'm being honest about it. I mean, I don't mind working from home because I love my mom. I love being up on my mom, and so it don't bother me. But at the same time, we have things that we need to be doing in life based on this biological warfare. And when you're talking about text pack, and these workers are scared because you got a lot of people who are, and I think well, Carver said something earlier. I can't see. He said, let's research if radiation is contagious. That's something that is a good research thing to do. But I think it's important.
radiation is not contagious.
He said radiation is not contagious. From what source is that?
Everything that the government has listed and everything that scientists from way back when has listed, it is not contagious. It cannot be passed on from person to person. It can't be.
Cassandra said there are several nursing homes with positive clients and positive employees. Yeah, they are. Because like in Shelby County, they had 17 employees and 15 clients who all tested positive for COVID-19. And that's from people going out and about and things like that. So, I still think that we're not taking the precautions necessary. But going back to TextPack, we're going to go back to that discussion. And you're talking about the employees in their particular area and politicians that are making these particular decisions that are affecting people's livelihood. Because you got to understand, I have my coworker, our SANE director, Tasha. She's over ICU at Marshall County North. That's close to Arab, Alabama. And when she comes home, she has to get undressed. Same thing, my cousin Pooh. When she gets out of work at UAB, she has to get undressed and put her clothes in the wash and go instantly go take a shower. Right. And I think it's important that we understand the seriousness of what's happening here in our nation. And my problem is, if you have employees who are working elbow to elbow in these plants, who are not being caught, who's given one mask to where they're using. I mean, if I cough in a mask, the mask is no good. The mask need to be discarded and thrown in the garbage can. It is not to be reused for 2 to 3 days. You are reinfecting yourself. Even if you just have a little sniffle, you're going to get the sniffle never going to go away because you're coughing in the freaking mask. So I think it's important that we understand the seriousness of what's happening to our community. So whether it's from 5G, whether it's from the government or whatever, biological warfare, climate pandemic, whatever is happening here in our nation, the seriousness of it need to be taken serious, not only by the people who are supposed to lead us, but by the citizens of this great nation. These barbecues and family gatherings and things like that, this is not a time to get together. And I understand that you love Big Mama and things like that, but Big Mamas are not even letting people in the house anymore. I got a church member, minute, her children had to leave her stuff on the porch and she go out there and get it. You understand that? So I think it's important that we have this discussion of why people in our area, specifically the Black Belt, are not taking this serious and getting half information, like this 5G stuff and all this stuff, getting half truth to say, to justify the thing that they're doing that's prolonging us getting back to what we consider to be normal.
I would say, so whether you believe it's a virus or whether you believe it comes from 5G, I think you should still obey the laws of the land. That's the bottom line. You should still obey the laws of the land. If the law says stay in and don't come out because of whatever, stay in. Whether you believe in it or not, stay in. You have to obey the laws of the land. And, I just don't see a lot of people doing that.
All right, so Cassandra says, Perry County politicians are looking at the potential loss in revenue. They're not concerned about the lives of their employees or citizens. I definitely agree with you on that. But here's the thing about that. If you don't have the people to work, you finna lose in the end in the first place. How you going to, I mean, that's the way that you should be looking at it. Talking about a loss of revenue. And I didn't have time because the call that I got this afternoon from one of the employees came right before the show happened. And so I haven't had time because y'all know I like to research stuff before I talk about it, how much money that plant made. I know how much Harvest Select made in the last 5 years. There was $20 million in revenue, which lets me know that they can afford to shut down and still pay their employees for at least 2 months without even putting a dent in their reserve. And I think it's important that we understand this as citizens of the Black Belt of Alabama, of the individuals that we are putting in office, for them to be able to represent us. They're just like they had a commission meeting to where they're trying to shut down the courthouse. You had only 4 on the call, and Mr. Eden and Cedric voted no, and then Albert Turner and the other dude has voted no. It's interesting that the two people that fight against each other can come together to, it's just the craziest thing I ever seen in my life. And I think it's important that we hear those things when we're talking about what's happening in our area and how these people do not care about us. They care about, and as they should as leaders should care about money and how things are going to survive. But that also goes back to the lack of leadership because these things were not set in place beforehand. So we got a couple of more comments. Let me see, Jadrin. True, but they still have get-togethers. Yes, they do have get-togethers, and they need to stop. They need to stop. My phone. Okay. Raven. Raven said exactly. We as a whole is not taking this serious enough. Rodney Raven said it's just like he said. Everyone that goes to the doctor tests positive for COVID-19. That's their way of getting the census count. Please explain that. They don't know. That that came out of that came out of that came out of
I wouldn't know.
that went way over my head right there, cause I don't know where that came from.
Now,
Oh,
I can't say he's right or wrong because I hadn't did no research on that. But though that means that everybody would have to go get tested. Everybody in the United States would have to get tested in order to get a census count. And even then, you ain't gonna get an accurate census count because most people not gonna go get tested. I mean, I don't know.
okay. Some of these comments are kind of cuckoo. Hold up. Okay, so let me go back. Who's this? Algeron Williams said, so COVID-19 travel across the ocean to all these places. Particles and droplets traveling through rain and snowstorms. When snow and rain is heavier than the COVID-19 particles. First case was in Washington State. That many people wasn't over in China that came back to the United States. And if droplets were the contagious, everyone in the United States should be infected. I'm lost as in the summer gun. Please,
I
go help him out, because I'm lost. Go ahead.
so I could, man. So we have to understand this too. Most of your, most of your people with your coronavirus, they're in, they're up in New York, which as um, there's a lot of 5G towers being put up in New York, and you have a close. I mean, you have to look at it. Most so your people they commute either by the subway or either by buses. And their chances of being exposed to it are greater. And so you have to look at this right here too. Though you have to look at this right here too. All of a sudden, this virus is traveling faster than light and faster than sound. If you look at it, I mean, all of a sudden, we go from five till we go to like 100,000. All of a sudden, I'm saying in a matter of days, and that's why I say, man, we as people, I mean, we as citizens, we need to start questioning everything that the government tell us because you have to realize who's in control of the government, and there's a shadow government over our government. There's a hidden agenda, and you can research it. There's a hidden agenda. Um, I mean,
I think,
everything that
I
housing
think our
say.
people don't. I think our people don't care enough to do that. But I want to go back to Giselle says Green County feeling the same way about the big hall. Now, y'all, Jadrian, all y'all feeling the big old hall closed. You don't need to go gambling right now. Save your money. You don't know what's gonna happen. Okay, you want to go to the big old hall. That ain't got nothing to do with Green County. Adam said employees know people are going to depend on unemployment. Yeah, because a lot of people that are working in these particular plants, like in the Harvest Lake and Tax Pack, they would get more from what you call it, from unemployment than they would for
Right,
regular pay. Because
right,
I know a young lady, and I'm not going to call her name. She had asked me to help her fill out her paperwork, and she when I finished, she said, "Portia," she said, "I'm gonna get more not working than I am working." I said, "Wow."
that's true.
And
That's true.
so yeah, so you're absolutely correct. They are afraid of that, and they're gonna see that. And then my thing is, with these companies that's coming to the black belt that have been here for years, who just recently start paying people $10 and $11 an hour, they have robbed this community for years and take
Right,
advantage of the uneducated and the individual that they feel cannot speak up for themselves. They've
right,
done this for years and have raked up on these particular people and don't have the necessities and don't have the plan in order to take care of the community. And that pisses me off. Katie Warren said that's not true. Most doctors are not tested. You do have doctors tested, but they are under those particular guidelines. The same one. That's just like I made a post. A local radio station, one of my Facebook friends, one of my Miles Carter friends inboxed me because this guy was talking about the black belt. And I'm not the end all be all of the black belt of Alabama. However, if you have a question about the black belt, I can definitely connect you to somebody that can answer and speak on our behalf that live here. Let's talk about that part. And so one of the things he said, like we just so all destitute and we don't have it. It's a lot of things we do not have. But the same requirement that is for the entire United States of America, if you have symptoms or whatever, or if your doctor recommends that you take the COVID-19 testing, we have those same requirements here and test this tests are available if you meet those particular requirements. So yes, okay. So you can't just go like you go get an AIDS test. I want to go get tested for this. You can't do it that particular way, but it is definitely available for us to have it. All right, I'm still talking about the 5G stuff now. So if you got any more comments over there, y'all do it another time. All right, Jamie said they might as well open up because these folks not doing right. Well, that I don't think that's a good idea. I think they need to do like China, shut it down. And even though they talked about today, even in press conference, that social distancing is working because, like he just talked about how the numbers has decreased, like the prediction that they had by using math, those predictions that they have, statistic class teachers and how they're able to do that and maneuver the numbers around to fit whichever way you want it to go. And they saw a decrease from that, and they're thinking that social distancing has a part in it. Sean Moore said, just tune in where I'm working is considered to be essential, but we aren't working 6 feet apart, and now we're actually having to wear a mask 2 to 3 days. Are you working at TextPack, Sean Moore? Are you working at TextPack? Because I just got through talking about that. And my thing over there, you got people are, and I know because of what happened over here, and what's the hat company, New Era, when they got the union, they shut New Era down, and so people have been afraid of that. Because they had no support from politicians. You know what's funny about that? Let me say that before I go into that. I'm about to tell you something. This is a true story. The same time that they were getting ready to shut down New Era, right over here in the market, listen to me, right over in Greene County, they were going through their first round of them coming to pick up those machines. You had more our politicians, state representatives, standing out. You can look it up online because the picture's still in front of Tuscaloosa News. Standing in front of Bingo, holding up signs saying "Save Bingo," but you had 700 people over here in the market that were getting ready to lose their job. That's why I don't have no respect for them Negroes. And anybody that don't like it, that's on you. But my point of it is, if you care about our community, this young lady and other that taxpayer had no business using a mask 2 to 3 days, standing elbow to elbow, and risking their life for some salt and doggone pepper. And I don't care who get mad about it. And I tag you, Albert Turner, because you is part of it. You wrote it on your page, so it's not like I can say allegedly. You wrote it on your page, on your Facebook page. Well, I'm sorry, the person who writes on your behalf wrote it on there that this is who you've been meeting with. And if this is the meeting that you've been having as it relates to the people of the community that you're representing, I already know that you always have your fingers in people's pocket. But the point of it is, you would expect this for someone who didn't look like me. However, it hurts more when the person who looks like me is doing it. All right. So Sacramento Bun says, this just takes us back to the Bible. This is the time where God is seeing who you trust, him or me. Mr. Pernell, help me finish what I'm trying to say, because they're keeping God out of this and he's mad.
There's a songwriter go by the name of Douglas Miller. There's a song I like listening to. It said, "My soul's anchored in the Lord. My soul is anchored in the Lord." So if your soul is anchored in the Lord, whether it's 5G radiation, coronavirus, or whatever it is, you have to believe that when all of this is over with, it's going to work out for your good, no matter what it is. Just keep your soul anchored in the Lord. Just keep the faith, Just keep the faith, and this is going to work out for your good. It's good in every bad situation, when you believe in the Lord.
All right. Sonia Boswell is here. She said, we are not working 6 feet apart at TextPack. And we do have to wear our same mask. Do you hear how unhealthy? What are your thoughts on that?
Everything. You're supposed to change those masks. Really though, every time you go outside, for real, every time you go outside and come back in, if you're working with, near, or around any type of food product, you should change them every time you go outside. And definitely, if you don't go outside, you have to change them every day. If she was to make that report to the health department, and I'm pretty sure some could be dead about it, because
I also, you guys contact the Attorney General office and do a complaint on their company. Do a complaint. They have an online form. I posted it. I'm seeking. I find again. I posted in the comment section. But fill out that form and do your complaint. And if you get enough complaint, You know, and also I think they give you an extra part to come in. Ask them to do surprise visits and things like that. Ask them to do that. Don't let them announce when they're coming, so they won't shut down a line and then space y'all out so it can look like you guys then, and then an hour after they leave, they open the line back up. Okay, so I think you guys got to come together, and whatever differences that you have aside, when things like this is why unions are important. This is why unions are important. And it is important because it's organized for organized laborers. And it will help you do these processes, and they know the laws and they know the things that are necessary. One of the reasons why all these plants and things like this are coming to Alabama is because we're not a union state. And they can pay you what they want to pay you and do you however they want to do you, because Alabama is so big on getting the job and not so much of taking care of the employees.
All right.
Didi Bubba Ray J said, I work at TexPac. Y'all please speak up. Yeah, people, Latonia's asking people to speak up. Speak up. Speak up to these people. I think, what's his name? Said, don't just call out. I call out Bobby too. And Ralph Howard. And AJ McCampbell. I'm not scared of these humans. You're humans. You're not to be feared. What is wrong with you? Talking about I call out all of them.
I would have.
I love you too, Miss Linda. Hold on, I got a question for you that's coming up. Okay, Lakeisha Tab, who's a business owner in Tuscaloosa, she owns a t-shirt bar. And she said, I agree. Now, she's a business owner now. She said, I agree. Shut everything down for 2 weeks so we can move forward. Go ahead and make your comment.
That's what I thought they was doing, shutting down everything. But I guess they're not shutting down everything. They're only shutting down like they're not shutting down like the grocery store, and your gas stations and stuff. So I can't specifically speak on that as far as a virus. I mean, if you want to call the radiation a virus, yeah, they should shut down until they get through running this 5G, until this 5G has connected to everything that is supposed to connect to. I mean, to make us more sufficient. If you shut down for 2 weeks, I mean, me personally, I don't think it's gonna make a difference, because they're still not gonna be through installing the 5G tiles. I want to show you something. Now, if you go back and look at your COVID-19 hotspots, all of those are like larger cities where they're installing those 5G tiles. Go back and
Here
look
you go. Here you go. Here you go with the 5G now.
because
Okay.
hey, because
Go ahead. Go ahead.
let me show you something, and I'll go on record saying this. There's something bigger coming behind this. This is just a setup. There's something bigger coming behind this right here too. Just as sure as we get the vaccine from India, because India supposed to be working on a vaccine, right?
And then they're saying that it's not guaranteed.
But do your research on what's it called, the chloroquine. Do your research on that right there.
Yeah, that's what it is. The chloroquine. That's what they said.
It,
I watch BBC World News,
see,
and
but
that's what they said.
but it has nothing to do with curing your body from a virus. It
It has to do with malaria.
no. But do your research on it. Break it down. It helps to repair the cells that the radiation has destroyed. It either repairs the cell or it removes them. It removes the cell that the radiation has destroyed. See, do your research on that particular pill that Donald Trump is talking about. And if you notice, Bill Gates is also trying to push the vaccination.
Of course, because they were getting money.
He's trying to push the vaccination as well. But I can't tell you what to take and who's to take. But you have to understand. You have to understand the hidden agenda behind this all. You have to understand it. So
Principalities are always going to say that God always say you don't have to wrestle against flesh and blood, you wrestle against principalities. Carter said, where's OSHA? OSHA, I got someone in my inbox that inboxed me about OSHA, and she says OSHA has relaxed the mask regulation due to the limited resources. Which is Alabama Department of Public Health, provides updates at least 3 times a week. There are, however, stipulations about how to sterilize them after use. So they do have that. Sean Moore, to answer your question, contact the Alabama Attorney General office. After the broadcast, I'm going to put the link, because you can do it online. Just click the link and you can fill it out from your cell phone. Okay? Alabama has improved in certain areas. They have improved. So you click there and you do your complaint on, it's called a consumer complaint, but you do your complaint there. Also, I also said I'm going to make a call. You need to contact the Alabama Department of Labor. Alabama Department of Labor, and do a complaint with the Alabama Department of Labor about your working conditions during this pandemic. Documentation rules the nation. If it ain't written down, it didn't exist. You need to document. And that's how you can start getting the help in what you need. Immediate help is contacting these particular people. If you need help, contact me. I'll do that, but I'll definitely put the link in the comment section so you can be able to have that as well. Keeping those masks are like using the used. Ooh, yes, that's disgusting. Melissa Barner said, that's like wearing gloves. You have to change them out after every use. People who's wearing gloves in stores wearing the same glove after each customer, they keep them on. Oh, yes.
That's cross-contamination.
That's cross-contamination. DD Bubba RJ says, Tech Pack don't care about none of us. They only care about that salt. Wearing a mask for 2 to 3 days. This is not New York, y'all. This is Marion. This is Marion, Alabama. That these workers are working under these particular conditions. That is disgusting. Vivian Williams says, it is an OSHA and it's a CDC violation. That's why I said you guys got to contact the people. Like, I can contact, but I don't work there. So I'm a third-party person. You work there, you have direct contact with these particular people. That's just like if I didn't like my ED, and I had a problem with my ED, I would go to the board member. The board is her boss. You get what I'm saying? Every company, even though they have chain of command, they still have to answer to people because they're doing business inside the United States of America.
Right.
So there are people that they have to answer to. And during a global pandemic like the one that we're under right now, these things, excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. These things are important. And I think you have to report it, guys. Don't be afraid. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to do it. God, yes, God will provide, but you got to stand up sometimes for yourself and speak up when things are happening. Go ahead.
Most of the time, Portia, most of the time, people, I guess they weigh their option and they decide not to speak up. But it takes people with courage, man, to speak up for others, and that's the position of certain leaders. You have to speak up for those that are less fortunate, those that cannot speak up for themselves. That's when somebody else will have to come in and be a voice for those people.
Yeah, and I don't mind being the voice, but I gotta have somebody behind me now. Don't chicken out. Shut up, nigga. I got sarcoidosis. I get hot. When I get hot, it act up. Jay said it's going to take black people in the healthcare field that work with this stuff firsthand. Our people are dying from lack of knowledge. Yeah, and then you had the black surgeon general. Now, here's my thing over there. He said, listen, alcohol and drugs will hurt us, you know what I'm saying, to my black and brown people. Limit your consumption of alcohols and drugs because it limits your ability to fight off the virus. This from the black surgeon general. But listen, soon he said that you got black and brown people attacking him. I thought it was a hookup.
No, that's the truth, though.
But I'm just saying, I thought it was a hookup. I thought he was looking out for a sister. You get it?
Your immune system.
Yeah. And they're saying that he's trying to attack. Like the day I saw somebody say, did the man just say, y'all heard this say, he said African. They trying to tell y'all something. Listen. Stop consuming this stuff because it's limiting your ability. They're trying to help you. It's not an attack. It's not, everything is not a racial attack. Like you have to think about it in that way. All right. So, okay, I'm trying to skip through these because I'm not talking about 5G anymore. Okay, all right. So y'all talk to each other. So we're gonna go ahead and jump to the next subject, which is what we're supposed to do. Talk about local elections coming up in the Blackbelt. So this is local stuff. All right, this is local stuff. All right, so we're gonna start at Greenburg first. Greenburg, that's your city. I just went to school there for a little bit. Hey, y'all go ahead and talk in the comments about the 5G stuff. I'm through talking about it now. Y'all do that enough time. I'm sick of it. All right, so here it is, election season in Greensburg. Okay. Okay, hold on, we got one more question concerning that. What about it's called the CARE Act? Called the CARES Act. The CARES Act is the act that was put into place that you guys can use. But I will also contact what's the name of it? The Department of Labor. Alabama Department of Labor. They're still running, baby. Alabama Department of Labor. Contact the Alabama Latanya. Contact the Alabama Department of Labor. Let them know, you know what I'm saying, that you have an employee complaint, what you need to do, and let them know what's happening in there. So contact the Alabama Department of Labor and look that number up, and then we'll go there. Okay? All right. So Shamika Williams says, who's running for mayor Greensboro? I'm voting. And then you have Kim Evans says she running. I would like to see that. Kim Evans.
I would like to.
Kim run. That'd be nice.
Um,
Go ahead.
First, I would like to say this. I think she will make an excellent
I
candidate.
do too.
And to me personally, I think it's time we get rid of everybody that is not for the people, man, because everybody up there has had enough time to make the city of Greensboro a better place as well as a safer place. I think we need somebody up there that's going to be for the people, by the people. So to everybody that's watching this, hey, let's band up, man, and put the best people possible in office. Let's band up. Let's get rid of everything in there that is not working for the people. We need new jobs down there. We need new jobs. Uh we need things for the kids to do. We need a recreation center. They said we have a recreation center, but that's considered the national guard. They have no basketball goals out there. Kids can't go out there. People can't go out there when they want to go out there. So that's not considered a rec center, even though they're getting government grants for it because they're saying it's a rec center, but it's really not. And we just need somebody down there who's going to make Greensboro a better place as well as a safer place. And yes, I am from Greensboro. That's my hometown, and I am going to move back. So for those of you saying you don't live here, but before I move back, I want to make sure it's a safer place. And whoever's running for whatever office that is not doing their job, I'm behind you 110%. Whatever I need to do, I'm on board.
What happened to Greensboro?
A loss of leadership. We don't have the leadership that we should have. But first of all, let me back up. I can't blame the leadership. I have to blame the people first because they only get into office if we put them in office. And for
Facts.
And for everybody that is old enough to vote, think for yourself. Don't let nobody tell you to go in there and vote all Democratic or just go in there and do this right here, which I was told when I was growing up, just go in there and vote this. Now, I didn't take it serious, but now I see the effect. Now I see the effect that it has. So I would say do your research on each candidate.
All right. You got a couple people saying, Jaden White said Greensboro needs an overhaul of current politicians. That's what you said.
Exactly.
Kim, Mickey's talking to Kim. Cassandra said the mayor can't work alone. City council has to be up to par as well. Kim said these folks ain't ready for my mouth. Maybe that's what they need. Shamika said anyone who's willing to help change things now will be a good candidate. And then Cassandra says some people are confused as to what a leader is. What leadership qualities and what type of person should run for office in Greensboro? I'm just asking now. What type of person should run for office in Greensboro? Um,
First,
in order to get it to the level, should it be a black person? Should it be a white person? Should it be a Latino person? Does it matter the color of the person's skin? What do Greensboro need?
I would say, man, color has nothing to do with it. Saying ethnicity has nothing to do with it either. I would say, first of all, we need a God-fearing person. First of all, if that person is God-fearing, he's going to do right by the people. He's going to be fair. Not only do we need a God-fearing person, but we need somebody that's going to be for the people. And not only being for the people, we need somebody that's going to be strong as well as flexible as well. You know, we just need somebody who's going. I mean, I could sit up here and name all these other characteristics that they should possess, but mainly just a God fearing person. And if you're a God fearing person, everything else gonna fall in line up under that.
Okay. Uh, let me see. Okay, Felicia Ward, I think she's going back to the other. I think if we out here taking chance with our life, we should get more pay because we have people out here not working and getting more pay than us. I agree with you on that. And I think you should get hazardous pay. And I think that's what they're working on right now is if you're still working. And I bet you this text pack workers, when they pass that, let's see how long they're gonna keep y'all open. When they pass that, they got to pay y'all for that time they had y'all working during the pandemic. Jay Diggins wants to know who's running for what. Now I heard, I think Elgin Long is considered running for mayor. I know your current mayor is running for re-election. I also heard somebody call out Eric Wiggins' name as running for mayor. What are your thoughts on any of those people that are throwing out that may be running?
What was the second name?
Eric Wiggins. I think they gave me a son.
Yeah,
He a police officer.
yeah. I went to to school with both of those guys. I've been knowing Eric pretty much all my life. I think he's a fair guy. I think he's honest. I think he's a decent person, and I think he's been around politics long enough to know what to do. You know, I mean, whether he do it or not, that's a whole nother thing. But I think he's a pretty honest guy. I think he would be somebody, if there's nobody else, I would consider voting for. And as far as Eldred, I think he has the people best interest in mind. You know, so do Eric. I mean, I think they would have the people best interest in mind. But we have to be careful too. You know, and I'm not saying this about neither one of those guys, but let's not be in a rush to get something new to where we go get anything. I think if that makes sense. So I would say we would just have to fall back and let's just wait and see what is being produced in Greensboro as far as whether it's the mayor, the council members, all the way down to the commissioners too, man. I mean, we need a whole new overall, man. We need new roles down there and everything, man. I don't know.
How do we let it get? How do you let it get? You got a couple courts. Hold up. What about the grants they receive for our youth? What are they doing with that money? I'm not aware of any grant. Do you know anything about a grant? I don't know.
Hadn't heard about that, but I can definitely do my research. I don't know if they have certain now. If they say they have certain programs down there for the youth, I know that they can get grants for that.
Absolutely.
But I'm not aware of anything.
Shamika said color doesn't matter.
I agree.
Everyone said bring in some outsiders and clean house. Janet Roberts said somebody that's not afraid to go against the grain, hardworking. That's definitely needed. Janet Roberts said it's a part-time position that requires a full-time commitment. Absolutely. Absolutely. Someone who's going to lead and be about what they talk about. Someone that has, these are people talking about qualities that they want in the Greensboro.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that has a true vested interest in the progress of the community, not just see one group progress, but the whole community. What do you mean about one group progress? Let's talk about that. Let's see. Kim Skipper said the type of person that has courage to do the right thing and not for person. I'm thinking that's what she's getting ready to say. Wow. Jay Diggins said she just found out who the current mayor was 2 weeks ago in Greenville. Wow. Now that's not your fault now. Because you need to go down there and find out who represents you. Now, even though I don't fool with my county committee, I'm sorry, not my county committee, my city council person in the mob, his name Charles Jones. He'll never answer phone when I call, so I don't even call him no more. I just go to the particular department that I need something done. Like I contact mine when I need to get that grant, whatever I need. I call the dog catcher play. I call Rex, the chief police, if I need something. I don't even worry about it no more. And then I know that I know the city clerk, that's Sam, and then I know my county commissioner is Fred Armstead. And you know what I'm saying, you got to go find out who these folks are. Even though some of us suck, you still, you gotta know who they are now. Let's see. Sean Tab says someone that have the ability to educate themselves on the leadership that is needed, as well as someone that have the ability to bring revenue to the city.
Exactly.
Coco says a transformational, innovative leader who understands the basic. Very good. Kim said, who the current mayor is? Who the current mayor? Who the current mayor?
She asking me?
Yeah,
Mayor Washington.
Mayor Washington. On the funeral home, right?
Yes.
Washington paid. Angela said to whoever can help me get back to here at the playground can get all about. Why don't you go to the Parks and Rec and committee and ask them to get a grant, find the grant, go to Parks and Rec and say, hey, write this grant for Baptist Hill. You can do that. Get Bob and them involved. Bob and Ralph Howard, all them, to help you generate the money that you need to get the equipment. Let me tell you what they did up there in Boaz. They did a similar thing. They even got a splash pad that they got a grant for. They had to pay a dime for.
Mm-hmm.
And they was able to get the grant because they all worked together. Andrew, John, all them up there, they worked together and got it. And that park looks amazing. They got a little amphitheater out there now. It looks amazing. Okay? All right? So get those people that y'all be loving to keep voting for in Greenboro over and over again to get up and do something. Shamika Will, yes, women of power need to come into play. I agree. Every city and county gets government grant for park and recreation. If they apply for it, they don't just give you money, you got to apply for it. Jay Diggins said he never showed his face anywhere. I just moved back. I saw him at Coco Mama 80th birthday party. He was there. But that was in Soar. Okay. Linda Thomas said a lot of young people didn't know who the mayor is. That's sad. All right. Only time you see him is at the funeral home or a funeral. Y'all crazy, man. All right. Kim said, child, we can't get anything done for the city council. Parks and Rec, but we would try our best. We meet on the first Monday, Al. She telling you when to come to the meeting. All right, so Greenboro, y'all see the thing that you have to do. So we're gonna go to Uniontown.
Your neck of the woods.
That's my neck of the woods where I grew up, my childhood home. I moved back too soon and then something. But so Uniontown got so far they got 3 people running for mayor. You have let me tag 2 of them that I know on Facebook because I don't want nobody to lie and say I said something. They come watch it for themselves. And I'm gonna tag them. Give me 1 second. I got a couple people talking. You can read that from Janice Roberts. Can you see that?
The council meeting open to the public, yes.
I used to go when I used to be down here. That's how I started Portia Takes on the Blackbelt at the Greenboro Council meeting. It was when I think Jaden was with me. It was when what's the name of it? What's his name? Christopher Jones, and then Emifa Buck. I'm gonna tag both of them because I don't want nobody to say I said something that I myself cannot repeat. But that's how I started Portia Takes on the Blackbelt. This is when they were trying to open up the club. What you call the club in Depot? What's the name of the club in Depot?
The House of Blues, the Underground.
The Underground, Big Bear Club. They were trying to open up their club, and it was the old people versus the young people. The old people like they didn't want all that noise over there, and they were going back and forth. Jackie Page was there. She went off on it late, and I was sitting there and I said, they need to be seen. And that's how I started Portia Takes on the Blackbelt. And I started doing the that's how I started doing the Portia Takes on the Blackbelt show. True story. Okay, let's see. Janet Roberts said, I know, like, why not know your mayor? Yeah, you got to know your mayor. All right, so let's go back to Uniontown. So, talk about Uniontown. So, you got 3 people running. You got Nightcat. Y'all know, some people may know Nightcat. You can rent limousines from him. He's been on the council for over 20 years. He's running for mayor. And then you have Chris Jones. He's a farmer, truck driver. And he's been doing things around the city. Like, he's used his own personal money to buy the stuff to go on the road to try to fix the little potholes in the city and things like that. And And he's been trying for a while. He's been interested in running for mayor. And then you have Emifa Butler, who's running for mayor. She has an organization down there called Choice, which is a resource center that has all different types of programs for that particular area. So, those are the three people that's running for mayor. Nightcat, he's been there for 20 years. I mean, he's been on the council for 20 years. For those people who don't know, the mayor don't have the power. The council has the power. The council, the mayor can't do nothing without the council approval. And so my thing is, you've been on the council for 20 years. Look at Uniontown in the last 20 years. That's my thoughts on that. As far as Chris, I think Chris has a lot of good ideas. I think he may have some difficulty executing the ideas that he has based on the current administration, who's been in there for 12 years and has done pretty much not a lot, similar to other places in the Black Belt. And so you have a lot of cleanup that you want to do before you can even do a little on the ideas. I think in Mifa, she's been on the inside for a little bit. She sees and knows a little bit more, being that she's worked on the inside because she currently worked for the administration, the current administration. So she sees what's in it for them. You know what I mean? And what's the ins and outs, the debt that the city is in. So she knows a lot of inside information that can be beneficial if she does run for office, because she knows exactly how to go in there and go ahead and get that fee so she could execute. The only problem that I see her having is her connection to the administration that the people want gone. So those are the people I think. My frat brother, since Nightcat is running, he's not running for his seat. So he has about 5 different people that's after. My boy Jeffrey, we grew up together, same neighborhood. Him, my brother Robert and Woody, and he and my cousin Quincy, they all best friends. They grew up together. He loves Uniontown. He moved back from Cleveland. He'll be an excellent candidate. Bubba, my frat brother, he's big in the Mason world. And he's running for that seat for city council. You also have a girl named Tamika Walker. She's running. Her brother, but she gave a donation to my organization, Family Services, when I was trying to take up that money for that. And she's interested. She has a passion for the city of Uniontown and want to see better for the city of Uniontown. Somebody just corrected me and said little potholes. She was like, really, Portia? I mean, they really big in Uniontown. So Uniontown, like Greensboro, I'm seeing a connection in that. That they have a lot of work to do. I know in Marion, they have Dexter. Dexter is running for re-election for the city of Marion. And we had 109 now. We're going to get ready to close it out. But Dexter, he is running for city council. I mean, running for re-election for the city of Marion. I think Dex has done a good job. I think he came in on the administration that a city that hadn't had an audit in years. How can you run a city that hadn't had an audit? You got Uniontown being ran. They don't even have a budget. How can you run a city without? Exactly. It's crazy to me. And so it does take a lot. And I think that brings us to the end of our discussion for tonight. And just ended on the importance of having quality leaders in our region. Why haven't we elected? And why do people continue to elect sorry folks to office?
I think it's time for a change in Greensboro, period. I think it's time for a change because the current administration, they're not evolving. And I think it's time, I mean, we're not going to ask you to pass the torch. We're just going to ask you if you would light ours so we can carry it on.
Okay. Jaden says, if he's been out for 20 years, he's part of the problem. You think? Katrice, she lives in Uniontown. She said, these are the biggest potholes in the world. They could have filmed Titanic here. We can't even eat and ride on the road. I'm telling you, hey, this is a true story, Cornelius. So, remember, Corey Booker came to Uniontown at 16, right? Mm-hmm. And so, we escorted him around and stuff. So, Ms. E, he won commission. He said, I'm going to take him on some of these roads. So, we were going on the road, and he was like this. Look, going down the road. He was like, and then he was like, what are these politicians doing? Why these roads so bad? It was so funny. We were like, this is what we've been trying to tell you. They sorry. He said these roads are, we took him down one road. His mouth just dropped. He couldn't believe the conditions of the roads in our area and the neglect for years of it getting to that point. And it was just funny to see him bouncing, going down the road because I mean, was in the road. True, that's a true story. It was really, really funny. Let's see. Ad said, I have a business and psychology degree. What are the qualifications? I think the qualification is you have to live in the town for at least a year and be an American citizen, be over 18 years old, and you can run for mayor. That's it. Just saying, it's great. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Jay Digger said, we vote for our friends. If they aren't capable, tell them to sit down.
I agree with that. I think it's time that we start taking care of our politicians on a local level before we can make a difference on the national level. I think we need to start putting the right people in office as far as locally.
I agree. Bubba said that's the one running for office in Uniontown for Nike. I don't know what the district is. But anyway, he said, everybody that's on here, do the census. Please do the census, y'all. Y'all want to complain about the road? Part of it is. See, this is why we got it all pays a hand. Let me just slow down because I talk fast. So I just want you to hit it before we log out. Because we way over time. So we got to stop. Okay, so the census is important for this reason. The more people can be shown that lives in the area, the more money the area can get.
That's true.
And that determines on how we be able to get the money so we can fix our roads and things like that. Okay. Here's the catch though. The reason why it's important what he just said about electing local people that have some sense is because when we get the money, we need people in office who's able to spend it the way that it needs to be spent so we can be able to see the results of our hard work. Yeah, does that make sense?
That's true.
So do the census. Okay, it does take. I'm telling y'all, I post the link a lot. I had somebody say she must know I don't get paid. I just understand the importance of doing the census. I give you an example. Up in North Alabama, it's a huge Haitian population. When I started working up there, we opened officially, and we opened 2 clinics in the same year. First of all, let's talk about that. But January 1st, 2019. We started reporting our numbers accurately to the state. You know, they thought we were lying. They started doing surprise. This is a true story. So we were like, why are they doing all these visits back to back? Because they wanted to see. They was in disbelief because for years, people had not been reporting. We have a Haitian population. Listen to that. In Alabama, a big Haitian population that's in North Alabama. But you don't know that because on a lot of the uniform crime reports and things that we had to report on in the state level, they're including them as African American. That's why on the census, when it says black, it asks you to be specific. It says Haitian, it says African American, like you have to be specific. And part of the reason why is because they need to be able to get. So you have a school like in Crossville, Alabama. When I go in and do presentations about good touch, bad touch, I have to ask, do you speak Spanish? Then my coworker Zyra asked those people to come on one side of the room. And as I'm talking, she's translating because you have a school of 306 sixth graders, 98 of them do not speak English. But they have one translator for the entire school. You understand that? Because people are not filling out this stuff and they don't think that these people are here because they're not reporting it. Does that make sense, everybody? So it's important that we put that information down and we be counted so we can start receiving the resource so we can quit being last on everything so we can be able to move forward. Okay? All right. Got a couple more comments, then I'm gonna get out of here. Okay, she said, I'm late, but I'm with whatever taxpayer family with. Absolutely. They're electing the same people because they're choosing the lesser evil. We have to educate ourselves in order to elect. Correct. Like when I say I don't like Joe Biden, I don't give a dog. Let me shit. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Because he know I'm finna go in. First of all, you are absolutely correct. You can't make me vote for somebody simply because they're part of a person that you like. You don't even know. You don't even know why you don't like them. If I sit down in a conversation with you and ask you a question, you can't even discuss it with me. Get out of my face. You're absolutely correct. They just made me. Okay, so Catrice said people vote for who they related to and who are they buddy with. That's correct. Everybody who running got a little crookedness to them. That's not true because I'm considering run for office and I'm doing it because I want to see better. It's not because I got a little crooked in me. Where you get that from? Okay. Keith Tab said Portia Shelby, it's because people are seriously afraid of change. I agree. As well as they truly look at us as children when it's time to put one in place as leaders. But look at us as an adult when it's time to pay money. Woo, that's powerful. That's powerful now. That's powerful. Algernon said, to whoever is elected to this position, if you don't say to use and put something in place for these parks and recreation, the Hale County area will be affected. I definitely agree. And on that note, Cornelius, any last words?
I would say, man, so when it's time for us to vote, let's show up in numbers, and it's time for us to put people in place who we feel like can get the job done, not only for us but for our kids. I think it's time, man. It's time for us to form an allegiance and make Greensboro a better place.
Not just Greenboro, the Black Belt of Alabama, baby. We got to be, we're rural, we're here, and we ain't going nowhere. We have to want better for ourselves. Mm-hmm. Nobody gonna come down here and save us. We have to be there for ourselves. And it started by electing individuals who will speak for us and do and be afraid to do, not do, because they want to stay in office. The problem is they're not afraid of you, and they should be. Okay? All right, so to all my text pack people, I'm going to put in the comment section the link that you need to contact in order for you to be able to get what you need to the Attorney General office. Also contact the Alabama Department of Labor. Cornelius, I've enjoyed seeing Pete talk, even though we've gone over our time. We stopped at an hour and 30. We supposed to stopped at an hour and 20, but that's all right. It was a great conversation. I enjoyed it. I don't know
about you. To next week, too, now.
Yeah, look forward to next week. We're going to continue conversation. We might talk about the 5G a little bit more because y'all just went crazy in them comments about 5G. But it's going to be every week, same time, same day, Tuesday, 8 p.m. CNP talk about the Black Belt. It's about to go down here, baby. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
From Montgomery to Hill, Greene County Imperious, Portia taking on the Black Belt, and she ain't scared. Marengo County, something county, Will, Cops, and Barbara. Interviewing everybody, sister, brothers, and mamas. It's Portia.